Welcome to Delivering on Plan Belize, where we sit down with members of the House of Representatives and discuss candidly their lives, their policies, and their plans for Belize. Today, we'll be sitting down with Minister Francis Fonseca, Minister of Education, Culture, Science, and Technology, to discuss some of the things he and his ministry are doing for the education system here in Belize. Joining us today is Honorable Francis Fonseca, Minister of Education, Culture, Science, and Technology. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So to better understand our guests, we would like to start off with some background information. So Minister Fonseca, your portfolio currently extends to education, science, culture, and technology, and you also serve as area rep for Freetown. But can you tell us a little bit about your life before you entered politics?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm honored to serve as the area representative for Freetown. I've done so for the last 20 years, since 2003, when I was first elected. And I've been fortunate to get the support of the people of Freetown for the last 5 elections. Before I entered politics, I was a lawyer and an economist. That was my job. Which I enjoy very much. And I grew up in the Fort George community right here. This is a part of Fort George. I grew up in the Fort George community. So I was, always around politics. My mother was a member of the Fort George committee with Said Musa. My father was a chief education officer, so he was involved in education, public service. I've always been around public service and always been around politics. But I never really thought about electoral politics, running for politics until 2002. I was at the time serving as the chief of staff to the Prime Minister of Belize. Said Musa had then become the Prime Minister. So in 2002, I was working with him at the office of the Prime Minister. And the opportunity arose for me to run in Freetown. And I took that opportunity, and the rest is history. So, it's been a great privilege for me to serve the Belizean people. As Minister of Education, I served also as Attorney General of Belize in the past, and Minister of Culture. It's been an exciting journey so far.
Inclusion is central to the education agenda, and that obviously extends to students with special needs. So how does your ministry plan to improve facilities and to increase accessibility for all?
Yeah, it's a big priority for us. Inclusion, we're absolutely committed to inclusion. Every child in our country, regardless of their abilities, their diverse abilities, their special abilities, their special needs, should have access to a quality education, and should be able to live and lead a meaningful, productive life. So that's what inclusion for us is all about, making sure that we're giving these kids, regardless of their circumstances and their challenges, an opportunity to have a productive life. So we have what we call a National Resource Center for Inclusive Education, NARCI. We're investing in NARCI. We're making sure that we're giving proper, adequate resources to NARCI. We're making sure that we're bringing in the right people to work with our special needs community. We're also working with our other partners in education, UNICEF and other partners, to develop a national policy on special education, and a national policy on early childhood education as well. That's another important area for inclusion, because one of the challenges we have in Belize is that a lot of our children are not going to preschool. They don't. So only, I think we're up to now about 40% of our kids attend preschool, and we have to. A lot of work has to go into that to make sure that much more of our students are getting that start, that good head start with an early childhood education. that allows them to do much better at every other level of the education system. So inclusion is critically important. We're investing in it. We're working on it. We work along with the Office of the Special Envoy. We're working on laws and policies that will affect our special needs community. So we can't only talk about it. We have to put in place the laws and policies that will support them participating in their education system and also participating in the economy of Belize.
As you mentioned before, one of the areas that the ministry is seeking to develop is the IDVET sector. How important is it to you that we teach the Belizean people about trades as a form of alternative schooling?
Oh, critically important. It's critically important. Technical vocational education and training is all about making sure that we have a quality, productive workforce for Belize. So it's absolutely essential that we train our people, provide them with skills training, so that they are equipped with skills that will allow them to find employment or create employment for themselves. So for a long time, there's been like a stigma attached to technical vocational trades. But we were working very hard to remove that because these are high-paying jobs. These are skilled workers. So we have a very good policy when it comes to technical vocational education and training. The whole idea is to work with the private sector to make sure that we're training people to meet the needs of the economy, to meet the needs of the private sector. So, again, that's another exciting area that we're absolutely committed to because we know how important it is to the national development of Belize.
Yeah. And you previously also mentioned early childhood development.
Yeah.
One of the things I remember reading was the installation of a preschool where there is already a primary school.
Right.
Is that something that the ministry is still working on?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We've made a lot of progress in terms of, access to early childhood education, preschools. The government is investing millions of dollars in building new preschools across the country, especially in our rural communities, because in those rural communities, that's where we have seen that our children are not getting access to early childhood education. So a lot of investment is going into that. In terms of training of teachers, we're investing as well in making sure that our preschool teachers are properly trained. We're reviewing the curriculum for preschool as well, to make sure that it's, again, our students are learning what matters at the preschool level, that learning is fun for them, that in those early years of their life, those formative years, that they're also getting exposed to the right values and the right attitudes for life. Again, that's a very, very important area for us, as reflected in our education strategy plan.
And as the country's only national university, are there any plans in place to uplift the University of Belize?
Yeah, UB is, our national university, as you said. It's the flagship of our education system. It should be, as our national university. So we have a new board in place at the University of Belize, and that board has been working very hard on putting together a clear vision and plan for the development of our national university. So I'm very excited about that. The Ministry of Education has been working very closely with them on that plan. UB, for me, it's important that UB be at the center of our discussions about Belize's development. As our national university, UB has to be at the forefront of those discussions, has to be a leading advocate for change in Belize. So, a lot of investments have to be made in UB in terms of the infrastructure, the facilities. We're now looking at working with them to upgrade the engineering department, build some new buildings there. Build some new facilities for students in dorms, that type of thing. So yes, there is a very clear plan over the next 4 years for significant investments in the University of Belize so that UB can really play a more meaningful role in the development of Belize.
While we're still on upliftment, can you provide us some more details about the Belize Education Upliftment Project and how it has impacted students or how it will impact students?
Yeah, how it will impact students, yeah. Yeah, the Education Upliftment Project, Together We Rise, that's the full name of the project. Together We Rise, is an absolutely exciting project that we're engaged in. It's a project it's a pilot project for the unveiling of our free education policy. So we will start with that education upliftment project on the south side of Belize City with 4 government high schools: Sadie Vernon High School, Maud Williams High School, Gwen Lizarraga High School, and Excelsior High School. And what we're doing there is a comprehensive approach to education in these schools. Not only will we be providing those students with free tuition, but we are also putting in place comprehensive feeding programs at those schools. We're putting in place transportation for those students. These are at-risk communities, vulnerable communities. We have cases where kids don't go to school because they don't want to walk through a particular area of the community because of gang violence. So all of those issues are being addressed. Uniforms, tennis, those types of things. So it's a really comprehensive approach for the first time, tackling these issues in these vulnerable at-risk communities. It's going to start in August of this year. We're starting it. And then, as I said, it's a pilot project that we will then roll out to the rest of the country as a part of our overall free education policy. So it's an exciting initiative. We have had a lot of discussions with the community, a lot of discussions obviously with the schools, and everybody is excited about the potential of this project. And we're investing significant resources from the government of Belize and the Ministry of Education in this project. It will also include infrastructure development, meaning upgrading these facilities so that you feel good about going to school. Your school looks beautiful. It looks inviting. It looks like an environment that you want to learn in.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're excited about that.
You mentioned comprehensive feeding programs, and one of the initiatives of your ministry has been the National Healthy Start feeding program.
Right.
Can you give us some more details about that?
Yeah, the National Healthy Start feeding program is really an exciting initiative. We're very proud of. And the whole idea really is a very basic principle, which is that our students learn better, obviously, when they're not hungry. And the reality is that in many communities across our country, students go to school hungry because of different circumstances. So the National Healthy Start feeding program is all about addressing that issue, that challenge of our students, particularly our students in vulnerable communities, poorer communities, at-risk communities, and making sure that we take a comprehensive approach to feeding our students. As you probably would know, many different people are involved with feeding programs. Schools are involved with it on their own. Churches are involved. Members of the community are involved with feeding programs. But we thought it was important for us to bring everyone together so that we are focusing on the students who need the help. and develop a national Healthy Start feeding program for students at the primary level across the country, to ensure that they are given the opportunity to get at least a healthy meal at the start of the day. And that all the studies have shown, all the analysis, all the data has shown that students who have a healthy meal at the start of the day are much more productive students, learn much more, are much more engaged in their class activities, and turn out to be better students. And that's what we want. So this is a significant investment. This year, we're investing close to over $3 million to start the program, and every year we will increase that budget. So it's again, we believe it will be a very, very positive and progressive development that we are absolutely enthusiastic about.
So the ministry has also spoken about the creation of a first of its kind STEAM high school in Belize. Can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly STEAM is and how this will be to the benefit of Belizean students?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm using the words exciting and innovative
It's very exciting.
too much, but I don't think I can't think of any other words to describe this. This is very exciting, very innovative. It's STEAM for those members of the audience who might not know. We're talking about science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. That's what STEAM is. And then there's STEM as well, STEM, which leaves out
Arts.
the arts. So we are working, and we're very proud of the fact that we're working with the renowned university, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They're working with us. They're helping us to develop the curriculum for this STEM school, working with us to plan the infrastructure that we're working on. So we're well advanced with that work. We should start the construction of that school this year in 2022, and it should be finished and ready to be opened in 2023. We're already beginning the process of hiring staff, and MIT will help us to train those individuals as well. So, STEAM and STEM, that's the future of education. We can't escape that. Belize has to embrace it. We have to be ready for it. We have to be committed to it. So the Ministry of Education we are fully on board. We are embracing this opportunity to bring this world-class STEAM school to Belize. It will be based in Belize City. And we hope it's the first of many. We hope that, with this initiative, we can then roll out the development of STEM schools across the country, so that our students, wherever they live, have access to quality education, STEM education, quality STEAM education, because that's the way of the world. That's the future. It's the present and the future, and our students have to be ready for it.
Wow, that's super exciting. I know when I was in high school, I would definitely appreciate that sort of schooling. So to see it happening for the future students, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Is that something that your ministry is really proud of?
Absolutely, absolutely. We think it's going to be an extremely, important initiative for the future of not only education in Belize, but for the future of Belize's development, because we're going to be training young people who will be equipped with these technological skills, that will represent the future of Belize's development and economy. So it's very exciting, and it's, as I said, it's an honor to be working along with MIT on this project.
As you mentioned before, education was disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And under your ministry, you guys undertook the vaccination of students nationwide.
Right.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like and the importance of vaccinating our students?
Yeah, it was very, very challenging. Of course, it was. Nobody knew, what to expect. We were living in a time of absolute uncertainty. People were scared. So, we were very happy to work very closely along with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We worked very closely with our other partners in education to go out into these schools and into these communities to make sure that we delivered a very clear message about the importance of getting vaccinated, getting our teachers vaccinated, in particular, getting our older students first vaccinated. More recently, we've gotten the vaccine for 5 to 11. We just recently got that. So that's being rolled out now. And again, we're working very closely with communities, working with parents, working with the teachers to make sure that we get as much of our students vaccinated as possible. The first thing we did when we got into office really was set up a COVID education task force, which included representation from many different stakeholders, from BNTU, obviously from the Ministry of Education, from Ministry of Health. The special envoy was a part of that task force, and we all worked together to find a safe and responsible way of reopening school, because we knew that our students were suffering outside of the classroom. They were not learning. There's no substitute for face-to-face instruction. As much as we tried to make use of technology and give students access to learning online, it was very, very challenging for many, many students. It was very difficult for them. It was difficult for many teachers who did not, understand how to effectively teach online. So, we knew that we had to work aggressively on returning to the classroom in a very safe and responsible way. And vaccinations, of course, was a big part of that. So we had an excellent rollout. Eventually we ended up with close to 90% of our teachers getting fully vaccinated, and a great majority of our students as well. And now we're hoping as well that our 5 to 11-year-old group, that they too will take advantage of the opportunity to get vaccinated, because we know that vaccinations save lives. They won't keep you from getting COVID, but if you get COVID, it will keep you from dying, and that's very important. So it was a challenging experience, but a very very useful one. And I think we all learned from it about the importance of working together to tackle these big challenges that are facing our country.
And that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you so much, Minister Fonseca, for joining us, and for our audience watching at home.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed the conversation today.
And that brings us to the end of our show. We discussed education reform, the creation of a STEM school here in Belize, and the investments that are being made at every level of education. I'm really excited to see these things come to fruition, and I do hope our audience at home had a great time watching. I'm your host, Lisa Torres, and this has been Delivering on Plan Belize. Good night, everyone.